Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you are well this morning and happy and ready to do another math lesson and learn some more math. Today's lesson is called Parentheses and the Associative Property of Multiplication. Let's get right into it and see what parentheses are. I'm going to write a problem. 2 plus 5 times 3. I'm going to write that problem one more time. 2 plus 5 times 3. There we go. Now you can see they're all the same, right? 2 plus 5 times 3. Let's see this one. 2 plus 5 times 3. So we can see we have all the same numbers and all the same operations. It's an identical problem. Now I'm going to do something different in each problem. I'm going to use parentheses. Parentheses look like, here's the word parentheses right here. Parentheses look like brackets that are curved. They kind of look like big commas. We're going to put them around 2 plus 5 in this problem. And in this problem, we're going to put the parentheses around 5 times 3. Now, what's interesting about this is when we do these problems, the parentheses mean something. Parentheses mean do this first. So I'm going to write that right here. Parentheses means do this first. So in this problem, we're going to do 2 plus 5 first. And our answer is 7. Then we're going to cross out 2 plus 5 to show that we've done that part of the problem. Then we bring down from the above problem the rest of the things that are in the problem that are left to do, which is times and 3. Now we can do our problem. 7 times 3 is 21. So this is called solving the problem or simplifying the problem. In your homework it might say simplify this problem. So let's see what we get over on the other side for our answer. Now you notice that on this problem we are doing the multiplying first, whereas in the first problem we did the adding first. Let's see what our answer is on this side, because remember parentheses means do this first. 5 times 3 is 15. We did it. Now we can cross that part out because we've done it. Let's bring down the rest of the problem from up above. Let's bring down the 2 and the plus sign. 2 plus 15 is 17. So we can see that we did get two completely different answers. We got 21 for our first answer and 17 for our second answer. So boys and girls, why did we get different answers? Why do you think? Well, it's because we had different operations that we did in a different order. So in this problem, we did adding first. In this problem, we did multiplication first. So that different order caused our answers to be different. Now let's do another one like that on the next page. Let's do 3. No, let's start with 10. Let's do 10 minus 3 times 2. Then let's write it again. 10 minus 3 times 2. Now we're going to put the parentheses around different parts of the problem. First, we're going to put them around 10 minus 3. And in this problem, we'll put the parentheses around 3 times 2. Now let's see the answers, what answers we get. We do the parentheses first. That's what it means, do this first. 10 minus 3, 7. Cross it out. Bring down the other part of the problem, times 2. 7 times 2, 14. You can see our answer is 14. On this side of the problem, on the other way that we're going to do it with the parentheses in a different place, we can do 3 times 2, 6. Bring down the other parts of the problem. Let's cross out 3 times 2. 10 and the minus sign. 10 minus 6 equals 4. We can see that we got two different answers. 14 and 4. We can see that's because in this problem, we did the subtraction part first. In this problem, we did the multiplication part first. So boys and girls, when there are different operations, the operations are subtraction, addition, division, and multiplication. When the operations are different and we do them in a different order because of the parentheses, we're going to get different answers. Now, let's see what happens when we use only multiplication in our problems. So let's try the first problem. 2 times, let's erase that. All right, 2 times 5 times 3. Now you've noticed that we're only using times signs, no other operations, just times. Let's write it again over here. 2 times 5 times 3. Now let's use our parentheses in two different ways and then do the problem and see what our answers are. First we're going to do 2 times 5 in parentheses, and in this problem we'll do 5 times 3 in parentheses. Let's do 2 times 5, which equals 10. Cross it out because we've done it. Bring down the other part of the problem, which is times 3. 10 times 3, 30. Now let's see what happens in our second problem. 5 times 3, 15. Cross it out. Bring down the rest of the problem. 2 and the times sign. 2 times 15. Well, you might not know that in your head. You might have to write down the problem a different way. But it also equals 30. We can see that our answers are the same. Boys and girls, we just learned about the associative property. The associative property of multiplication says that when factors are multiplied in the order 2 times 5 times 3, 2 times 5 times 3, or any factors are multiplied, we can multiply them in any order and we're always going to get the same answer. This will work for multiplication and for addition, but not when we use different operations, only when we use all multiplication or all addition. The associative property. I wrote associate, I'm sorry. I wanted to tell you what associate means, but let's fix it to write associative. Associative property. T-I-V-E. Good. So I wanted to talk about what associate means and associate. So you can see associate, associate is in that word. An associate is someone you know, someone you talk to, someone you work with, or someone you're friendly with. So someone you work with, or someone you are friendly with. You associate with them. So what we're talking about here is in math, when we associate numbers, that means we make them work first together. We make them friendly together first. So, for instance, if I write this problem, if I write 2 times 5 times 3, and I decide to make 2 times 5 associate with each other, that means I'm going to make them work together first. And we remember that 2 times 5 is 10. We cross out what we've done already, bring down the rest of the problem, the times 3, and we get 30. We can also see in the problems that we did above, 2 times 5 times 3, that there was an easier way to do the problem. Let's circle the way that was easier. Yes, 10 times 3 was easier. So often we can find numbers to multiply first that will make it easier to solve the problem in our head. Let's go to the next page and do some more problems like that. Let's do 3 times 2 times 9. And let's look at a couple of ways to associate the numbers and find an easiest way to do the problem. Sometimes there are a couple easy ways. but sometimes there's definitely an easiest way. Let's look at associating 3 times 2. Then we will associate 2 times 9 next. Okay, let's see what answers we get doing 3 times 2. 3 times 2, 6. Cross out our problem. Bring down the other part of the problem. Times 9 equals 54. Now let's take a look at the other way. 2 times 9, 18. Cross out the problem. Bring down the other part of the problem, 3 times 18. Now 3 times 18, we could not do that in our head easily. We would have to write down 18 times 3 in this way. 8 times 3, 24, carry the 2. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 more is 5. We can see that the answer is 54, but this way is so much easier. We can do that in our head. We don't have to write down an extra problem or do an extra step. So let's take a look at how to do that problem without using parentheses at all, because we can do that. 3 times 2 times 9. Let's do this way. Instead of putting parentheses around any part of the problem, let's just try to associate numbers by using our little triangle, connecting them with our lines, our little pointer. 3 times 2 equals 6. Cross it out and bring down times 9, the rest of the problem, 54. So here's a way to do the problem without using parentheses. Let's try that again on the next page. Now we're going to try another problem. 9 times 3 times 3. Now instead of writing it twice and putting parentheses around it, I'm just going to try different things, and let's see. Let's associate 9 times 3 together first. 27. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to have to do 27 times 3. That's going to be difficult to do in my head. I'm going to try associating other numbers. Let's do 3 times 3 first. 3 times 3, 9. Now that's much easier because I'm going to be ending with bringing down the 9 and the times sign. 9 times 9, 81. And I can definitely do that in my head. Let's do another one like that and see if we can find an easier way or easiest way to do the problem. 4 times 4 times 5. I'm going to write it twice just to show you. 4 times 4 times 5. Now let's do 4 times 4 first. 16. 16 times 5. That's not going to be too easy, is it? 16 times 5. Let's try 4 times 5 first. 4 times 5, 20. 20 times 4. I can do that in my head, can't I? 20 times 4 is 80. Excuse me. Okay, now let's look at one where it's going to be a little bit odd. Let's try 5 times 7 times 2. 5 times 7 times 2. Okay, let's try 5 times 7, associating those two factors first, 35. And now I'm left with 35 times 2. That's not very easy in my head, is it? I don't think that's a very good way. Let's try the other one. Let's associate 7 times 2 first. 7 times 2, 14. 5 times 14. Gosh, that's not very easy in my head either, is it? Well, there's another way we could associate those numbers that maybe we didn't see. Because remember, we can associate any of the numbers first. So let's write it with red so you can see we're doing it a third time here. Watch. We can associate 5 times 2, even though they're not next to each other in the problem. Because remember now, we're not using parentheses to associate them. We're just associating them by touching them together with our pointed line, with our little triangular line. So we can do 5 times 2 equals 10. Now what we do here is we cross out the 5 and we cross out times 2 because that's what we did, 5 times 2. Now we can see the rest of the problem we are left with is this part right here, times 7. 10 times 7, 70. That was easy to do in our head. So we want to look for combinations in the problem, number combinations that when we multiply them give us smaller numbers, or start with smaller numbers, or even a number that ends with a 10, because those are easier to multiply. Let's try one more on the next page. Let's do one with 4 factors. Let's see how that turns out. 3 times 2 times 6 times 1. Now we can associate any of these factors first. Let's just take the first two. 3 times 2, 6. Very good. Now we do not have to bring down the 6 and the 1 all over again and write it again. We can associate 6 times 1 and do that part also. 6 times 1 is 6. Cross that out. Now all that we are left with is the times sign. So we bring that down right here. 6 times 6, 36. Now let's look at one more that's kind of funny and see if you can figure it out before I tell you what's funny about it. 4 times 9 times 2 times 0. Let's see. We can associate 4 times 9, 9 times 2, 2 times 0. Let's start with 4 times 9, 36. Cross it out. Now remember, we can do 2 times 0. 2 times 0 is 0. And cross that out. And now all we're left with is the times sign. We bring it down. 36 times 0 equals 0. Now, maybe you thought, well, what was funny about that? Well, what's funny about that is that we did not even have to do any of this part of the problem, because anything times 0 is going to be 0. So when we see a long string of numbers, let's say we have 3 times 4 times 0 times 8. If we see a 0 in that problem, we know that our answer in the end is just going to be 0. So we don't even have to do 3 times 4 and figure that out. I hope you enjoyed our lesson today, boys and girls, on the associative property of multiplication and parentheses. And I hope you have a great day. Miss you and love you. Bye-bye.